happens though. Volibear will not be seeing the light of day. The Syndra gone as well from the hands of the EDG mid laner. Scout not getting that, and Zika will not get the hands on the Galio. So Kalista seems like the first pick here for me for Vici. iBoy looked great on it. They agree.
Yeah, iBoy in game 1 was very successful with this, with Maestro on the Nautilus. So the ability to pair it up nice and easy. While for EDG, AD carry, well, they got
Ashe, I'd imagine, is going to be the call here, and you can go towards something for JJ in the jungle. The Lee Sin was the priority in game number 1. We'll have to see, though, if he wants to go towards something like the Graves for himself, although JJ hasn't actually played the Graves, so it may not be something that he wants to let into his wheelhouse.
He's such a big Lee Sin player. Was when he debuted last year as well. So, we'll see.
Of course.
Scout Zoe, also open. Let's play that again.
And Zika is a very potent Zoe player himself, so EDG prioritizing that to make sure that Scout does manage to select that one for himself. Now on the upside though, there's the opportunity here to go towards a jungler for yourself, get a super strong support if you really want to, something that can threaten on towards this Ashe pick, but we'll have to see, as jungle does look to be the name of the game here, at least for Leon in these early stages.
But he has the Graves open, he's opting for something different. We got the pick up into the Trundle.
You do have 2 immobile carries on the side of EDG, especially if you see a portal from the Zoe. You can do very good to just Trundle pillar in behind it, and then you can jump in on top of them. So Vici, at least here, very much looking to close the gap on towards EDG, and once again, try and find these big team fights.
And it's amazing because any other team, if you picked Renekton this early on, you would be punished for it. But Vici Gaming, confident that Xiaoshang will not be able to handle something in that top lane like the GP or Quinn that we've seen. JJ back to comfort though with the Lee Sin, and now we've got both our junglers. We need another solo laner for both teams. We need to see some supports on the board.
There is the opportunity here for Xiaoshang to go back towards the Kennen if he wants to though, and we've seen him perform well on that. And does work quite well against the Renekton. Again, also is a struggle for the likes of this Kalista, the Trundle, the Renekton in team fights. So I'm curious to see if he does opt back in towards that style.
I like that we're seeing an Akali ban. That's a very rare ban, but one that we know Scout can pilot. Or not Scout, sorry. That Xiaoshang would be capable to play. Hasn't played it in the LPL so far.
Last ban is going to be coming in. There's that Kennen that we were talking about. So now, as Xiaoshang, you're like, right, what are we trying to do here? How do we want to try and play this out? Opportunity to go towards the Ornn if you really want to, and try and go towards, hey, this team fight is going to look super strong. We got this beefy front line, and makes it quite difficult for the likes of Kalista to try and operate. But I'm a bit worried. We're going to see Xiaoshang back on this Karma, and we end up in this poke, runaway style composition that couldn't quite work for EDG in game number 1.
No, the harder comp, right? At least in game 1, we had the Syndra on Scout. Similar objective, but it was a lot easier to see it pairing up. As now, you can always see Mako on it. Let's just find out.
The thing is, though, Vici have some tools now to actually deal against this. Because, as we talked about, Trundle can do relatively well at trying to pick people off, where if you go in with this portal jump as Zoe, you can get slowed down with the Trundle pillar as you come back out. Same when it comes to this Ashe. And it can give a lot of engagement for the likes of Maestro on this Nautilus, not to mention the Fate's Call that's here for Vici. So EDG will have to play this even cleaner than, well, way cleaner than they did in game number 1, but incredibly smooth if they want to try and avoid what Vici have here.
For Vici, I mean, their Galio was taken away, a champion that Zeke has played both games in the series. Now onto the Orianna. Knows it's going into the Zoe, knows how telegraphed she can be. This will be a fun matchup mid.
This is going to be a very interesting matchup mid, because look, when you look towards Zoe, Zoe has a lot of push potential, which can be matched somewhat with the Orianna, but eventually Ori will just end up running out of mana, and Scout should be able to have control of this. And we've seen Scout's pressure when he's happy to roam in this Zoe pick, getting down towards that bottom lane and trying to make these plays happen. But when I look towards that top side of the map as well, Xiaoshang has to be very careful about Leon trying to play through Q when he hits that level 3 and getting these ganks off onto the Karma.
So, let's hope this time EDG give us a bit more with the Karma top. Because it wasn't a problem directly because of the Karma, it was just EDG kind of fell apart. And you're like, I'm a Karma top. You know, I'm not as... how do I put it? You know, you're not like a Kennen.
No.
Where, oh my god, I got a 5-man ulti. Unless everyone groups up in a small bubble and you press R and Q. But anyway, point being, let's hope it's better.
And even then, that RQ here is kind of int when you're going for this style of play on EDG. Because what we talked about is still the name of the game from game number 1. You want to be trying to move around, using these shields and speed ups to dodge away from the engage of Vici. And look, it worked well in game number 2. The difference though was they had a definitive engage tool in this Renekton, in also this Nautilus, plus JJ looking great on the volley bear.
Yep.
This time around though, it is much more heavily on the poke end of things, and it can be a little bit more difficult to pilot this like we saw from them in game number 1. Xiaoshang though, set on this Karma, will still be the Iceborne Gauntlet in towards the Athenes and Holy Grail last time. I think I'd prefer to potentially... No, actually, the Athenes and Holy Grail will still look super good here, although you do a little bit more AP damage coming out from the Orianna than you did in that game number 1.
Well, I think he likes it. I think it might be a favorite. At the very least, a pick potential to be noted of EDG as we run into this game 3. Vici Gaming. Game 1 was great. Game 2 was... Game 3... everything's in the air. And sometimes I love that, because in the LPL, we see one apiece and we go, yeah, both teams kind of through in their individual games. And everything's open to run us into a game 3. I see Spellbook mids. And of course with the Orianna, one of the paths that's most common these days. So the hose usually accompanies this. And it'll be fun. Colonel, what does that mean? What am I taking from that, Colonel? Come on, brother.
Everything. Meaning of life.
I mean,
where to invest your stocks.
If we
it's
get
all in that chart right there.
Dag, if we get 30 minutes in with a Karma, a Zoe, Ashe, I feel like EDG might have a bit of advantage. What do you think? Because there's a bit of all-in from Vici Gaming as well.
Well, that's the thing here, is that this is... As much as we like to try and look at like the scaling options and all this kind of stuff, this is more so down to execution once again, because if Vici manage to get on towards EDG, they just don't have a tank. They have no one who can actually survive well enough, and Vici can run through them. However, if EDG are able to play at range and they can use the poke and the sleeping trouble bubbles from Scout, Hope looking good, and Xiaoshang having a decent poke himself, plus the speed up for everyone else in this composition, they can be the ones that can poke out Vici and then look to find advantages that way. But it can be a little bit difficult for them to go for that, because it does require them to get ahead in the early stage of the game and trying to find these advantages where they're the ones that are controlling the pace of the game, because otherwise, as we've seen before, Vici can start to move into these pockets of vision that EDG don't control and find flanks that make it super easy for them to execute on this composition.
Now, much like game number 1, we remember that Vici Gaming had the Galio, but this time with the Orianna, a similar dynamic, just more of a threat in terms of damage source, and also the ability to lay it down. The Orianna is a favorite of a lot of our LPL mid laners, namely Rookie, another great imported mid laner who's been here for a very long time. But Zika has played a great game 1. Game 2 was not bad. Now, with all the praise, he has to do it again.
And we will see him on a different champion this time around as well. I mean, we haven't seen him pick up the Orianna. Be curious to see how he will perform, as actually it looks like... Good amount of damage turned onto Cube, and Cube does need to be careful here, because Leon has path down towards this bottom side. He's looking to use the pressure from iBoy and Maestro on this bounce back to pick up a scuttle for himself. But JJ is up on this top side, so there is always a chance here that Xiaoshang hits that turret, gets the crash, and as Cube is trying to force this wave back out from his turret, JJ shows up and can get a gank off.
By deep ward at the very least. Cube has been the subject of dives a lot. As ward spotted, the teleport being used immediately. Just a quick response from EDG, making it happen. First one to tank is going to be Xiaoshang, who flashes away, takes the turret shot. JJ flashes as well. Scout gets first blood. In the end, the dive worked out.
And that was what we were talking about, is Xiaoshang gets a nice crash on the wave at level 3. Cube isn't able to hold that wave at bay, and they're able to force him, well, back to base. However, that was a nice timing here from Scout, because he actually managed to get the shove in mid, backed and used the teleport top. But Zika, who's gone for the cleanse, doesn't have a teleport of his own to get back to lane, so he's even when it comes to the towards the wave state, and has actually got that extra back in to even up any sort of item discrepancy there.
And it's good to see EDG returning back to what we talked about, where topside pressure has been the name of the game for them especially. They're very much like OMG, who we saw earlier in the day, where Jeje or Junja would play towards either Audi or Xiaoshang. Remember that we have 2 subs in 2 different roles here for Edward Gaming. But, you know, they have been at their strongest when they've played near the top side. And Scouts also enabled that. Now picking up First Blood. He picked up an Amplifying Tome, has a Dark Seal, and also the Corrupting Potion. So he's going to have a pretty good laning phase from here on out.
I'm curious to see what Maestro will be able to do in this game, though, because we've been talking at length about how strong this mid lane is for both sides and how big of an influence Scout and Zika have. But usually we do see Leon playing quite heavily through mid, working in conjunction with Maestro, but we haven't actually seen it too much this game.
Well, you want to see Mako first because Loyan's here. Pillar down, the Spidey senses ticking. Triple Bubble connects. He flashes away. So does Mako at max range, but I take the junglers there, even though Mako didn't connect.
You say that, but there's actually an opportunity now for Vici to try and make a play on towards Mako.
Okay.
And you don't have the flash available here. You've got Leon, who's still perfectly healthy after that, so they can move in towards this river area, and you can't have Mako be the one to move forward and contest this because he's flashless.
Makes a good point. Mako takes the safe route to get back to lane. Dragon has started, spotted out. Now, remember those summoners we just talked about as teleport gets channeled on in. Vici want to burn this quickly. The Ren secures it with the security. Leon also goes forward. It's the dredge line to connect, and Leon has no flash to get out of this. So in the end, it hurts them more, as Maestro and iBoy might just have to flash out of the pit as well. iBoy saves it for long enough, and Scout pokes him in the back. A second kill over to EDG for the Dragon take.
iBoy trying to see if he could just pierce his way over the wall, but unfortunately wasn't quite able to. And that was actually the power from that initial gank, EDG doubling down on it. So the very first gank that EDG went for, they burnt the teleport from Cube to get back to lane. Xiaoshang managed to hold on to his own and then have that teleport advantage for the fight. Xiaoshang shows up quicker, they get another kill under EDG's belt, and the Dragon does go to Vici.
He's just given the strong mid 2v2 a kill though, right? We got one on the Lee Sin, we had one on Scout picked up from the top lane dive. There's a lost chapter on this Zoe now as well, and Dagda, we're set up for another big Zoe on Scout. This is what happened earlier on in the game, in Game 2. And look at where it took us.
And we've still got a lot of time before Vici are really in a position that they want to try and take these big fights. Because you want iBoy to have that Blade of the Rune King, but that'll be matched by Hope. They're both looking really good off of one item. So let's take AD carries out of the equation.
Okay.
Junglers are pretty much good to go back and forth now because they're both about to hit that level 6 mark, so they're even Steven. But when you look at the mid lane, Scout spikes so much harder off of one item comparatively to Zika that EDG can look to power down on these advantages that they picked up, and that's why you can see Leon at least trying to help out Cube in escorting this wave in top lane, because if Cube ends up getting pushed out here, oh, hang on.
Dominus used. Cube does have enough health to finish this through, and Loyan with the dive, it begins. Spotted out in the ward, there's no jungler nearby. Pillar against the wall, should be able to secure this. No subjugate available, but the dive successful as Cube tanks up the turret shots.
And is able to get out of there. So I like that Leon is trying to bite back somewhere on the map so that then Vici aren't falling too far
Big
behind.
wave.
Bunch of gold in towards Cube's hand as well, and it'll make things a little bit easier for Cube now in that top lane because he can finish off the likes of the Smirk Treads, get a little bit of that magic resist, and then start working in towards him being much more potent in these team fights.
And I know a lot of people across the world are used to seeing Conqueror Trundle. Here in the LPL, we have variation of PTA Trundle as well.
PTA phase rush as well. In the
yeah,
midst of that.
oh, actually, I should say rest of the world used to the phase rush, not Conqueror, excuse me. You're right. But PTA this time around here for Loyan, so the damage threat there, even with the Cinderhulk build, Loyan's found himself a bit of extra gold with the help of turret plating too. However, resetting means leaving that top lane pressure, and EDG getting access to the Rift Herald. This should go by uncontested for now, but Zika and across the arrows there, he dodges away. Drop bubble as well, and the death sentence. Mako kind of missed that one of his own accord, but that was nice.
It was very nice, and at least it gives a little bit of pressure over towards Scout. Hoping Mako now can move back down towards his bottom lane, and it just was EDG trying to make damn sure that they got that Rift Herald for themselves. Now I'll be curious to see where JJ wants to try and use this. Personally, I think Hope is your best answer here, because trying to shove iBoy in, get a bit more gold on towards Hope and accelerate him towards that Blade of the Rune King is going to work out great, but could actually just be going towards his top side.
Okay. Make it easier, of course. Cube is going to have the wave pushed in here for now. Oh, no, actually the opposite, excuse me. It's Xiaoshang with a massive wave going up against his top laner. And JJ getting told to stick around. Scout's coming up as well. We're doing this again.
And, I mean...
Oh, there's a redemption. Oh, Cube. How do you survive? Trouble Bubble against the wall dominance. He's just dead. Redemption not even needed. Zika slow to the play. The Shockwave brings him back. There's no other support. Zika does not have the damage at this point in the game.
Seems like more of a frustration there from Zika with the Shockwave, because EDG are playing this map so beautifully, and unfortunately, Zika just hasn't been able to get control over Scout, and this is what we expected from Scout when we came into summer. Yep. But he had these, well, very lackluster performances in the last couple of series. Finally, though, get his hands on towards his Zoe. He looks a lot better. He's roaming. He's making these plays. He's forcing the advantages here for EDG. And Vici just don't know what to do. And Cube, it's not really his fault. It's just that he's getting no pressure here from Leanne. And JJ has done a really good job of figuring out where Trundle's going to be before he makes these plays happen.
A reason that JJ's played, you know. Let's go through his Lee Sin. Where are we?
7 games. Well, 8 games.
This is his 8th game. Yeah, he's played a lot of Lee Sin, more than anyone in the league, if I'm not mistaken. As Leanne and Cube getting cheeky and around with the pillar. The flash force out from Hope. JJ's coming down though, and so is Xiaoshang. This is a shielding ability as the Renekton's pulled in. A double knock up on the backline though, but they've already killed Cube. And you know what? Vici don't want this fight anymore. As Scout runs in and EDG are all over Vici Gaming. It's a Zoe with 1,000,000,001 flashes. A double kill given over. And this looks all EDG.
And this is what this composition was built to do. EDG get the shielding, they get to run away. Zika isn't in the fight the entire time, so when EDG kite back, they get that little bit of burst speed and burst in health thanks to the shield. They can turn this one around, and EDG look great.
Oh, this is a 2.5k gold lead in 11 minutes. I mean, game 2 was dominant. This is even more so to kick things off. 3-0-2 on Scout. And you know what? He has a Magi's with 8 stacks as his first item. Scout showing up big. This is what I want out of my mid laners in the LPL. Show us your size.
Well, that's going to be a fairly big book as this starts to go on.
Oh, yeah, that's one word for it.
Look, Scout is looking absolutely stellar. Now, okay, so let's start to move on from this, because we talked already about these item spikes that EDG have. But Scout, although he has slowed down on that Luden's Echo, he's just picked up a bunch of gold. He's going to be very quickly getting towards that. Looking over at Hope, 0-0-4, bunch of assists. He's actually clearing out that bottom wave, still to back towards finishing off that Blade of the Rune King, which he should very much be underway, if not already have the gold for. Especially when you look at all the turret plates he's managed to pick up. So he's hit his 1-item spike as well. And Xiaoshang is going to back and finish this Iceborne Gauntlet. So when we get towards the next Rift Herald, when we get towards some of these pokes and sieges underneath the turrets, EDG are super strong, and it's really hard for Vici to try and break.
I mean, Vici are going to be face-checking here. Mako waiting, but they don't take the riskier play. Maybe they do. Mako over the wall almost gets the giant Krug, but Scout's on his way. Trouble Bubble with blue buff. In comes this EDG dive, and I tell you what, Vici need to run.
Yeah, because look how much terrain is here for Scout to try and use. He can pop these Sleepy Trouble Balls straight in, and Hope, he's always got the safety there. As you can see, Lantern's going to get him out. But the thing is, look how much Vici committed towards the bot side.
Zika walking in. You know what? At least in with this much damage. Running away is hard, and Scout, more stacks in the book.
Oh, that was so beautiful from Scout and from JJ. But again, it's EDG pulling Vici everywhere. You commit 4 members bot side, fantastic. We'll just rotate towards this mid lane. Scout is still going to get these turret plates before they all kick off in 30 seconds. And you still have Hope off that pick, able to make the play on the bottom side.
This is EDG's game to lose at this point. Oh, I don't know how it's run so far away, but Vici are just in the dumpster.
And how is this team 3-7?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, they wouldn't be. His fate's call interrupted, maybe because EDG have overstepped their bounds. All right, Dagda, the conversation again. Let's go.
I don't know if I want to continue this conversation now.
You know what?
I feel a little bit sad.
Well, you know, I'll give you an answer. They're 3-7 because this comes around once a series. It's kind of like the FBX thing. Even some series, we don't get it. Their past couple of series have either been 2-0s or 0-2s.
Yeah, and look, I mean, to give them their due, the last couple of series has been incredibly hard for them. JDG looked amazing. RNG, you caught them on, well, sometimes you catch them on a good day, sometimes EDG just look kind of atrocious. LGD then as well looked amazing in their series against EDG. And it looks like now EDG, there seems to be a buff that's passed back and forth because EDG, Game 2, they look great. Game 3, look at the amount of turret plates they have.
Yeah.
Look how strong they are on the map. It's a 3,000 gold lead for them at the 15-minute mark. This is incredible play. And you've got a 4-0-2
He's got
Zoe in the
Ludens
mid.
now with the 12 stacks of Magi's. Blade of the Ruin King picked up by Hope as well. We've got a Herald sitting there waiting. And at this point, Vici to walk up is going to require a lot of gumption because grouped is Scout, level 11 on this Zoe. Hope and make a clear out top and they're moving down.
And we tried to highlight Zika as this up-and-coming mid laner. As Scout showed him, I don't care if you're up-and-coming. I've been here for so damn long.
I mean, Coma's trained FLICKR, right? And Scout trained under FLICKR at one point as well. As Maestro's going in over to JJ, who's separated. Chaz across the arrow, though, and they're going to hook on in. Well, JJ might actually have access to the backline. Going golden the next time is Mako. Still through this choke is the team that has Shockwave available. But EDG don't need to do too much more. They've forced Vici out, and now they have the Herald right in front of them.
They have the Heralds. They'll be able to pick this up. They still have that Dragon available in 50 seconds as well, so EDG can look to back here and then go and contest that, or they can even just stay out on the map because, well, with the wave pushing in mid, EDG may need to hold on to this mid lane structure. JJ's
coming in red hot. A lot of wave clear available for Scout at this point in the game.
The thing is, though, EDG having this Rift Herald can now instantly throw it down, make sure that they're the ones that are able to get on towards this mid lane structure and guarantee mid priority. iBoy is off on a journey towards this bottom lane as well because of this wave that's here. So looks like with Vici not being able to contest Rift Herald, won't be able to contest this Dragon either.
Here we go. Run it mid.
And what do? Vici have got to give this up. The Rift Herald will be able to take this. Too much poke, too much siege potential here, and EDG can now safely turn towards Dragon.
Yep. Cloud to start us off. Cloud Rift, I should say, to start us off. As Smite will stop it from getting the inner turret charge, but you mentioned it, they're just walking down now.
And do you know who loves a Cloud Rift? A team that wants to run away. A Karma, a Zoe. Everyone on this team is going to be so happy when you are able to get a bunch of this movement speed off your ultimate. So, as on EDG side, this is one of the few times where you're really happy to see a Cloud Rift.
Oh yeah. I actually realized Ash shoots the arrow straight away, runs at you. And you're getting 3 of these anyway. Thanks to Vici picking up an earlier dragon. You get 3 Cloud Dragons if you're EDG maintaining the same level of control. Scout, by the way, picked up a turret by himself. More gold in his back pocket, who he's already huger than Mungus. As Scout, yep, a highlight, almost 10 CS a minute. And we're just watching Cube because we're like, hey, Vici is still in the game, but let's be realistic. 17 minutes in, it feels like Vici are going to show up in about 30 minutes time.
And I'm real glad Scout is looking so smug right now because I think after the last 2 performances, he's not going to get his hands on this Zoe anytime soon.
Nope.
So enjoy it while it lasts because Scout, this is a stupendous performance and why we oftentimes see Zoe banned against EDG.
I like that Mako's running Chris Skin. I believe they are good friends from memory. Because, you know, across the years, especially recent years, Crisp and Mako have faced off. Obviously not the same relationship that he'd have with someone like Ming.
I mean, Ming just seems to be friends with everyone.
Ming is a nice guy. But
every time I see those videos, it's just Ming walks into the studio, sees like 3 people from all the different teams, and just goes up and hugs them. It's just
Mako's
so
such a nice guy as well. Like, I mean, he's waved at me. That's the important part. He's waved at me.
This is just a roundabout way for you to brag that
I've been waved at. Hey, let's go through my list who I've been waved at. Rookie, The Shy, Mako. They've all waved at me.
You were in a lift with Doomby.
Hey, yes, and I was in a lift with Doomby at Rift Rivals, and you know what? I said, you know, I'm an English LPL caster. He's like, oh, cool. And I'm like, I'm a big fan. And I schoolgirled and ran out of there back to my hotel room. He didn't follow me. He went to his own. He went to his own level, just so everyone knows. But yeah, I don't know. Thinking about it gives me goosebumps. They always say don't meet your heroes, but by God you should.
It's great.
It was great. I talked 6 words of Chinese and ran. Anyway, that was Rift Roll.
It's about as much Chinese words as I have right now
hey,
as well. Which
that's
is
all right,
like,
dude.
so
I've got 10, don't worry.
I can't really blame. Your Chinese is getting pretty good now.
No.
Yeah.
Raz's was so much better. Raz is really good. I gotta say, Clements is great. I
don't know. I'm a bit on the fence about that
yeah,
one.
all right. Well, the language learning continues here. We've hit a point where EDG are just ramping towards this next dragon. Of course, there's a Baron spawning on the Rift as well. Everything going right. Oblivion Orb picked up by Scout. He's the person whose items I will consistently track for you, chat. Because against Zika, he's got a 2-level lead, a 40 CS lead at 19 minutes, and is about to go back and get that Morellonomicon. Watch. Ready? Okay.
There it is.
He has 2 death notes. One of them, death by LS. The other, death by AP. Light Yagami, if he had to, would have been a very different ending.
I mean, look, Light Yagami didn't have as much gold as Scout does right now. I mean, Scout can do whatever the hell he wants. He can buy it. He can bribe the gods to get a second death note. That's how rich he is right now.
I'm watching Vikings right now, sir. So saying
The
the gods.
The Shinigami.
The Shinigami.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a great series. I actually watched that again recently. Oh, yeah? You know when you haven't watched like a classic show in a while and you're watching like, holy moly, this is great. A nice little steal there. I think JJ didn't find it, but doesn't matter. Being aggressive here as EDG are playing around Scout. And Mako setting up for a hook on his friend's fresh skin. I think it's kind of wholesome, you know, when you see other LPL players playing like a world skin against a team. Obviously, that's not theirs.
Yeah.
When I saw yesterday, Mole played the LeBlanc skin against
Vici,
Rookie.
yeah.
I thought that was super cheeky.
Well, especially when we saw that little like message to him.
Yeah.
But it was just like, yeah, please take it easy. And you just got Rookie going, no, I'm not. So,
It was a super cute day yesterday, but Scout was trying to get aggressed on by the side of Vici. But he's got a redemption in his back. We need to stop giving Zoe redemption. As he's got a stopwatch, though. That's an issue. Hard to catch him out.
And let's look at where the map state is right now. Because we've got 30 seconds until this next dragon. Xiaoshang has managed to push in that top wave. So EDG at the moment are setting up for this dragon. And I like that they're getting this vision nice and early because that's what they need to make sure they're not getting flanked on, not getting aggressed on. But actually, as I say that, JJ didn't place anything as he went on his way out. So not quite in a position here. And you can see where with Vici having multiple different routes into this river, it can be quite dangerous for EDG.
But if Scout finds a pick, even with the troll bubble there, the danger going to be for Lo Yen, who subjugates. No, he doesn't, excuse me. But the engage starts from Maestro. Mako uses a stone plate, though. Scout misses the troll bubble. Otherwise, he would have been dead. Survives, but the support low. Sonic Wave connects, but no follow-up once again. And Scout connecting his abilities means game over for Vici. Didn't happen that time around, so Vici survived but lose the drag.
Yeah, Maestro unfortunately getting poked out, and then that's kind of the big engage tool for Vici down. I mean, we already said, look, you've some potential to catch EDG out when you've got the triple pillars, maybe cube on a flank, but I mean, EDG have complete control of river. Maestro with the hooks isn't able to do anything, and this has been the story of the last 2 games is both supports just going aggressive onto each other. Both of them have stone plates. Nothing actually happens. And then the rest of the team actually just get to play the composition the way they want.
Yeah, I mean, game 2, we saw Vici committing to Maestro a lot with his stone plate, and that did not work out. Sorry, Mako, who's playing Nautilus in game number 2. If EDG can close this out, it is a good story, but remember, ladies and gentlemen, they'll be 4-7 if they can win this series. 4-7 will not cut it. You need to win every series from there to guarantee your spot in playoffs. For Vici, we were hyping them up because we're like, okay, if they win this after the clean game 1, they'd be 6-5. Then they verse OMG, DMO, teams that they should win against if they are truly a playoff team. But after this against EDG is that dodge from iBoy. The hop to the right. It's so hard to lock down a Kalista in combat.
I mean, it was a solid effort from Hope, but honestly, it's kind of surprising because look at where the rest of EDG are.
Yeah.
You could try and pick off iBoy. He does have the cleanse, and it almost would have spelled disaster for Hope and Mako because the rest of Vici were in that river. They could have collapsed onto Hope. They could have got the kill and gone over towards that Baron. So I'm actually thinking that might have been a slight blessing in disguise for Hope.
You know what? I was just thinking, did you watch Pingu as a kid? Did you watch
Yes.
Yeah? I was just thinking high nuke Ash would be great. The Pingu skin and Sonic Wave connects, but a lot committed forward. They will manage to escape.
Could you imagine how obnoxious that would be with every jump? It's Newt.
No, not the Callista, the Ash.
Oh, the Ash.
You already got High Noon.
Oh,
yeah.
true.
But no, that's a better idea. High Noon Callista.
She just throws fish that they stack into people, you know?
And then the old is just Pingu's big nose. No. When Ash throws the arrow, you just hear it across the screen going, just on repeat. Oh my god. Pingu Ash would be great. I gotta say.
Pingu anything would be great. Let's be realistic. Oh, hang on.
Over the wall. Oh, the pillar stops him.
The hook.
Yeah,
the line.
Dark passage over the ward. The ward blocks him, Dagda. And that's the pick that gives Vici a bit of hope.
And JJ and Xiaoshang are on bot side. They can turn towards Baron. This is a massive pick for Vici.
But you know what? What we've seen in the series is people are not confident enough to make the high-risk plays. So they won't.
Yeah. iBoy wasn't in a position to come and jump across. Might get Scout here, though.
Okay, as Protobelt, pulled on in. Is there enough damage? The Fed Zoe with Magi's wants to run away, exhaust, use. Trouble Bubble lands, and here comes the Dark Passage. Scout will get away. Even though Vici have priority top. Now, what can they do?
They can't do anything. Hope is going to be back up. Xiaoshang is still being able to pressure onto Cube, so his teleport can't be a factor here. And Scout has his own TP, so he can get back out of the map. So Vici, unfortunately, with iBoy on timing where he couldn't quite come across to start onto Baron, lose their opportunity despite the opportunity of picking off him.
This is not a done and dusted game yet. Funnily enough, it should be. The way EDG have been playing, but everything's slowed down heading towards that Cloud Soul. And the pickoff from Vici shows you the potential of how they roll into this mid-game. The kill did, I believe, go over to Zika as well. Some much-needed gold from the mid laner who was falling out of CS favor. Or falling out of the CS discrepancy, I should say. Also, iBoy has a bounty. He's got 280 CS at 26 minutes. Once again, iBoy is farming up a Storm.
Well, he needs to get that damage. He needs to be able to carry this game, because when you look at the consistent damage, not going to be coming through from Zika. Cube is more there for the tanky bruiser stats, same on Leon. So it really does fall onto iBoy to try and carry this game. But again, as we talked about with EDG, you've got an Iceborne Gauntlet Karma who's going to have a whole heap of slows. You got to be careful of Scout, who's going to be looking to try and pick him off. You got to be careful of Hope as well, who can outrange and slow and cause a bit of a nuisance there for iBoy. So it does get a little bit difficult for iBoy to be in a position where he can try and carry these fights.
JJ is looking for a pick. If iBoy's going to carry these fights, though, wait for that Death Dance that's on the way.
Dragon 4 in 30 seconds as well. So EDG already positioned in River to try and contest.
iBoy wants Hope. The successor to the EDG lineup. The Scout hitting his abilities. What did I say? His Maestro is going to get him the Shockwave onto two. The core members of EDG caught out. Mako with the Death Sentence, but it's onto Cube, the front line. Scout has to run away as Hope is DPSing them down. The AoE great, but no one dead yet until iBoy runs into the front line. He has to flash as well, and Hope does the same. JJ and Scout at mediocre points of health. Trouble Bubble nailing down the line, and Vici getting a pick and surviving is big news.
I don't know if they can contest this though. Scout, by some miracle, managed to get out of there.
Oi!
That's why you got to have Scout there.
Hey, I told you if he lands his abilities, good night Vici and good night iBoy is what I should have said instead.
And the healing from Xiaoshang, it means that he's already almost back to full health. This is the power of this Karma in the top lane when you've got the Athenes and Holy Grail. And right now, EDG, off of Scout's performance, are looking to take down Vici.
I will say I was waiting for this for a while, but finally we get back into the momentum swing. Void Staff picked up with 16 stacks for the Zoe.
Look, I don't blame you. I'm cross-eyed trying to keep track of Scout as well in this game, because the way he managed to whittle his way out of that engagement is incredible.
Scout should have died, you're right. But Vici have done a good job at dodging Scout this whole game. But all it takes is one misstep.
Maestro played that super well to get that engage, but unfortunately Zika has 0 damage, so Scout goes flash to out to safety, and it means that then Mako is the one that goes down, but that doesn't matter. Your main source of damage is Hope and Scout. They are both going on towards iBoy, and iBoy unfortunately doesn't have enough to try and take them down through the shields, through everything that EDG are able to offer them, and pop goes the Weeze.
Oh my god. Maestro almost dies as well if he was in range. One misstep, that's all it takes. I mean, iBoy played super aggressive in that fight, but he steps too far forward in the wrong position and he's dead to Scout. That's how crazy it is fighting against a fed Zoe. If you make a mistake, you're punished immediately. And all game long, Vici being punished by a Scout who's now 5-0-2. A 4K gold lead still exists in this game. We've got Elder spawning. A Cloud Soul available in EDG's back pocket with the Baron sitting there. One more mistake and EDG take the Baron and look to close out this game.
And EDG are looking to set up this siege now. Zika's way off the top side.
Maestro's not really a tank.
Not at all. And EDG now are in a great position. Zika pushing a little bit too far forward in that top lane. Does have a push there, but EDG don't really care. All they're trying to do is just force some pressure on towards Vici in the mid lane. And it looks like EDG will be able to get away. And this is what we talked about, the power of these ults.
Troll bubble land onto Luyan. Scouts coming in once again. Poke down the hook from Mako at max range. And now for Vici, they have to make their grand escape. Jeje in with a Sonic Wave, but it stops there. There's a flash burn by Xiaoshang, who's a bit too far forward, but for EDG, they have the numbers advantage without a jungler. Baron is open.
It's a bit risky for them to try and go for it, though, because you still have a heap of engage here. And in a pit, that's a dangerous situation.
Hang on. Maestro is actually going to start the engage. Mako flays him back in. Fate's Call used to bring him to safety. Now it's not dangerous. They used a bit.
Still, though, Zika does have ultimate available, and, well, Cube doesn't, so they can turn towards this. And again, it's Maestro aiming for Mako in these engages, and it's not the Thresh that you want. He's the tank. He's the one that wants to be absorbing all these spells. And it looks like, though, EDG find a Vici.
Dagda, you're right on the wrist back. This might comes down, though, and security is there for EDG. Jeje over the wall with the ward hop. And EDG with the safe Baron.
EDG are basically got to go quick in this game because they got the Dragon Soul, they've got all these speed ups coming through from Xiaoshang, and even the reposition that can come through from Mako means it's super hard for Vici to try and get on towards them. So now we're waiting until this next objective, this Elder Dragon, where potentially Vici can make a play where maybe they can catch out EDG, but with so many towers still up for EDG, even if Vici make one pick, one play, it's not like they can just close out the game off of that.
That's true. Gonna get to a point where it's over multiple fights. As well, setting up bottom wave is the pings going down. I think Scout's gonna go there first. Zika controlling top. And you know, from both these teams, when they found their wins, it's like, okay, we're gonna tick all the boxes. We're not going through and we're not rushing it. Like you see IG when they get an advantage, you're like, if we run it down mid and fight, we can probably win and then probably end the game, right? It's like, no. Let's get side waves in order. Let's not overstep our boundaries. Let's use the Baron buff wisely and see if we can get any picks along the way. But apart from that, we'll play it patiently.
And that's exactly the way EDG needs to play this, is super patient, not giving the opportunity for Vici to find these picks, because you saw it nearly an engage onto Scout and nearly a Vici victory, just not quite enough damage there, so you still need to be a little bit slow here as EDG, but I mean, they're perfectly happy to do it. They played it the same in game number 2, and EDG, whatever we thought about them coming into this series, are looking damn good in this game.
Banshee's Veil was a good investment, Dagda, that's all I'm going to say is. Zika does walk away, does a bit of damage to Jeje on the way out. Turret being threatened. If Vici fight here and lose, they will lose the game with the death times that are coming up at 33 minutes in. Pillar placed down, Scout sending out the trouble bubbles but not connecting. The level 17 Zoe just needs the damage to follow through.
JJ's going to start escorting this mid-wave in. So now with a minute until Elder Dragon, both these teams, well, EDG at least are going to start shoving in both these waves to make sure that then they can keep pressure onto Vici. They can always back away, then go towards this Elder Dragon, and it's very difficult for Vici to try and contend with this.
8k gold behind, it's only 7k gold behind at this point of the game. Holding on to bottom, Scout goes mid. He's low on mana though. So for EDG, resetting, the time is now. And we should have Scout on near full items as well.
It's a very laid back from EDG though. Vici have the opportunity here to move in and get wards. Like, you have a TP here for Cube, who would work wonders on her flank. It's about corralling EDG into these fights. So I want to see Vici get ward control down now, get positioning in river. Don't give EDG the opportunity to get in and get control of either of these jungle sides, because then it becomes easy for them to poke, prod, and avoid the engage from EDG.
Super easy to do that now. They've cleared out the mid wave, but Trouble Bubble connects with them trying to clear out that set vision over to Loyan, dodges away. Man protect just in case. There's a Rabbit on Zoe with 18 stacks at full build. Will nuke anyone at this point in the game. Elder is started, Dagda. Scout lands a Trouble Bubble though. And over, Mako sends out the hook. Maestro takes a paddle star. An EDG at full health, full capacity, ready to charge.
Vici have to fight this. They cannot give this Elder Dragon over or it is game. But look how low those health bars are.
Scout over the wall though, into Iboy instead hits Loyan, who's on a glimmer of health. He flashes away from the Enchanted Crystal, the Trouble Bubble. Short again, and now for Vici, you're at a numbers disadvantage because you can't run towards this pit. That's Elder.
And that could be game for EDG as well. Scout is on heat-seeking missiles with this play. Like, it is non-stop all the time. That he's just, it's Vici not able to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Where was this EDG? Like, this is so well executed, playing towards the strengths of the comps so incredibly well.
Sure.
This is the complete opposite of what we've seen from EDG.
I mean, game one was nothing like this,
no,
right?
exactly.
And Scout's really stepped up in the series, to say the least. Inhibitor goes down, but you know what? They say, let's not fight with the Elder. Let's get bot and, you know, tick those boxes again, Dagda. So, okay, EDG. All right,
the good news is for EDG is, hey, look, we've got that mid lane structure down. That means we've got super creeps pushing in that will time pretty nicely with us on the bottom side of things as well. So we can now use this Elder buff alongside those super creeps to try and get a bunch of poke off underneath the tower. And you can see that with how much damage Scout has, the Elder Dragon is enough for him to one-shot pretty much anyone on Vici right now.
I love how Vici actually went up and put vision onto Baron. Iboy's still there. Iboy is here. I don't know if he's spotted out, but Iboy, time to back some. As JJ's going in, 5 versus 4 because of Raptors. He'll now finally back away, but Scout sends himself forward, and here we go, the final defense. Enchanted Arrow laid into Loyan, the ball forward. EDG, you can end the game. You just need the confidence here, and Maestro, there you go. That's how we do it. JJ into the back line, gets the kick flash onto Zika. All they need is the poke to kill him. The shockwave flashed away from, and Xiaosheng will get the execution. That's it. That's all she wrote, as Hope even does the same. On to his old predecessor in Iboy. EDG really warmed up to this series, and as they have Cube right in front for the next execute, they'll run forward, hit the Nexus turret, and win a 2-1. That honestly no one expected. EDG 4-7 to make the dream run in the summer split.
It's a long road ahead of them, but EDG have paved a very nice path after that series. Looking so strong in game number 2 and game number 3. Their ability to play this